Happening now, additional charges for the alleged hit-and-run driver that killed a Jamestown teen. And the cleanup continues following a massive winter storm that brought record-breaking snowfall to our region. Plus, the push to get your feedback about improvements to a popular park nestled along Chautauqua Lake.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now. This is WNY News Now with live breaking news.
The man accused in the hit-and-run death of a Jamestown teen on New Year's Eve is now facing additional charges for unregistered handguns. Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now, and we start with breaking news. I'm Justin Gould. Jamestown police announced just this morning that a Chautauqua County grand jury indicted Randall Rolson with 3 counts of second-degree criminal possession of a weapon. The additional charges, police say, come after investigators allegedly found 3 unregistered handguns inside of his Town of Bust-Eye storage unit. City of Jamestown police say that 15-year-old Alexis Hugan was crossing West 6th Street near Washington Street around 12:30 in the afternoon New Year's Eve when she was allegedly hit by Rolson's 18-wheel car carrier. As for charges related to the crash, he was previously charged with felony leaving the scene of a motor vehicle accident and driving while ability impaired by drugs. The department says additional charges remain pending following the results of blood toxicology levels from the New York State Crime Lab in Albany. And another big story we're following, the cleanup. It continues following Monday's winter storm that walloped much of our region. This is a look at cleanup in Jamestown this morning as we dug out with nearly a foot of snow falling here in the city. Crews are continuing snow removal efforts today. Much of the main roads remain clear. However, some side streets are still where things are a bit tricky. The city's Department of Public Works are asking folks to make sure they move their cars, which might be parked along the side of streets, in order to give plows proper access. In areas where things are deeper, people were digging out in order to clean up, in order to make their way to work today. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joining us live now with more as we're stacking up the totals, Dakota. And from what I hear, some of them are record-breaking.
Yes, the snow totals yesterday really piled up as we had that widespread snow that started on Sunday night and then continued through the day on Monday. I'm just going to get out of the way because we had to modify this graphic to show you all the snow totals. Erie, Pennsylvania, almost 2 feet, 2 feet of snow, 24.7 Little Valley, 20 inches, Mayville, 18 inches, DeWittville, 16, Dunkirk, 14, and Olean, 12 inches, Jamestown officially at a foot, and Wellsville in out to the east in Allegheny County, 10.3 inches, and it was record-breaking snow. We had 10 inches of snow recorded at the Jamestown Airport yesterday. That breaks the old daily snow record of 9 inches that was set back in 1994. So a lot of snow yesterday, and it was that heavy, and it was that, and you know, there was just so much of it is what made it so worse, is there was so much of it. But we're still dealing with snow right now. This is not widespread snow. This is lake effect snow. And again, we told you how this was going to set up, and it's going to continue through the day today. Started the day at 23 yesterday, was 25 for the high yesterday, 25 and 18 below are the record. So here it is for today. Scattered lake effect snow showers will pick up an additional 1 to 2 inches of overall snowfall with high temperatures 26 to 33. But another push of Arctic air returns as we go into the end of the week. We'll talk about it with that Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7-day forecast later on in the show. Justin.
Absolutely, Dakota. Thank you. And you mentioned the lake effect snow. It's falling right now. Here's a look over Lakeside Park in the village of Mayville. And we want to direct you to a new spot on our website. If you head on over to WNYNewsNow.com/skycams, you can take a look at a number of impressive views from across our region. And we'll continue to keep you updated as the snow keeps on falling. Well, tow truck drivers across our region have been hit hard and are hard at work since this snow arrived. Erie News Now's Kristen Allen rode with one from our region as they rescued cars from the snow.
It's been a long day for Eddie Whiteman.
A miserable day. There's no other way to put it. This has been like a war zone out here.
And his crew at Eddie's Collectibles on West 18th Street. They hit the roads at 2:30 Monday morning.
My night's not going to end, and the reason it's not going to end is because of people that have got stuck and left their cars in the middle of the road.
Eddie's works closely with the city of Erie and Mill Creek to tow cars that may be in the way of emergency vehicles. Getting those cars out of the roadway is mostly what Monday consisted of.
My night's going to be long. It's because I'll show you, like up here, we have a car that someone has got stuck, left it in the roadway. Road's got to be open. Emergency vehicles have to be able to come through.
In under 24 hours, they've already towed about 50 vehicles, some stuck like this, while others in violation of odd-even parking.
See this individual here left the car right in the middle of the road. I'm going to tell you tonight the police are going to have me tow that because it is hampering type of cleaning up the snow removal here.
And while this is a tough job with long, hard days in weather like this, it's one that's extremely important.
I would hate to see someone's house burn down or lose a life because they couldn't get a fire truck through a blocked street.
So how can we help the people working in this weather?
So if you don't need to go out, don't go out. Stay home and safe.
Kristen Allen, Erie News Now.
Kristen, thank you. And a 27-year-old Wattsburg, Pennsylvania man is accused of drinking and driving ahead of a crash during last night's winter storm. The Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office responded to the Monday evening single-vehicle property damage crash on Route 474 in the town of Harmony. Now, following an investigation, deputies allege Mark Vogel was operating his vehicle while intoxicated. He was released with appearance tickets on several charges, including DWI. Deputies say he's scheduled to appear in the town of Harmony court at a later date. As WNY News Now continues this half hour, the new policy that's now taking effect at schools here in Jamestown. And later, we're hearing from local voting officials who are responding to criticism from a government watchdog group. Stay with us, as WNY News Now will be right back.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Brought to you by the Chautauqua Safety Village and the Jamestown Fire Department.
Welcome to Honest John's Pizzeria, where you are the most important customer.
Everything from freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has it all.
And don't forget the ice cream!
Order online today or check out our 2 great locations with buffets ready for every appetite.
Don't I have the best job in the world?
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
A push to keep kids who come in contact with COVID-19 in class is now underway in Jamestown. Jamestown Public School District officials rolled out their test to stay policy. Earlier this month, the district was seeking more guidance from state leaders before taking action. Under the new guidelines, unvaccinated or asymptomatic students and employees that come in contact with the virus need to test negative for COVID-19 each day for 5 days to continue to stay on school grounds. Parents are able to opt out and have their students stay home during that time. If a student did test positive while attending class, they are not allowed to partake in extracurricular or after-school activities. If they develop symptoms, both students and staff would be sent home. Additionally, those who were to come in contact with a COVID-positive person outside of the classroom setting and are fully vaccinated are not eligible to take part. More details on that policy is posted right now at jpsny.org/TTS. And some health experts are criticizing the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention for suggesting schools cancel some sports and after-school activities. The CDC recently released guidance advising schools to cancel high-risk sports or extracurricular activities and hold them virtually. They included things like football, wrestling, and band, and pointed to the recent spike in COVID cases nationwide. But an infectious disease expert called the guidance unlikely, unreasonable, and unrealistic. He worries people will not follow the suggestions. The CDC's director defended the agency, saying in a statement it prioritized academics over athletics, and noted when its school guidance it's followed can be incredibly effective. Well, Martin Luther King's family marched alongside people in Washington, D.C. yesterday. They say they want his holiday, MLK Day, to be known as promoting equal rights. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp reports that activists are using this day to push for voting rights legislation.
Along the Frederick Douglass Memorial Bridge in Washington, D.C., people marched and chanted honoring Martin Luther King Jr. and his legacy as an equal rights leader and activist. The people say this march is symbolic because it's a chance for them to put pressure on the U.S. Senate to pass voting rights legislation.
Invoking the spirit of MLK on the day we celebrate him and other leaders in the civil rights movement will, I hope, get the bill over the finish line.
In the 1960s, Congress passed the historic Voting Rights Act, which protected against race discrimination in voting. Fast forward to today, activists say on top of state legislatures passing laws that are deemed more restrictive on the right to vote, they say a handful of Supreme Court rulings weakened the 1960s Voting Rights Act. So they're pushing to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, which would strengthen legal provisions against discriminatory voting policies.
And I hope that somehow members of the Senate will see the light and know just as it was important to have bipartisan support when the Voting Rights Act passed in the 60s. Even without bipartisan support, we need them now more than ever.
People say this fight is just as critical as the one MLK advocated for decades ago.
You either stand with MLK and John Lewis and voting rights, or you support Jim Crow and going back to Jim Crow. And that's sadly the direction we're trending in right now.
And the Voting Rights Act protects Hispanics. It protects all minorities. It gives all of us a chance to participate and make this democracy better.
In Washington, D.C., Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. Right now, that John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act is in the Senate, but trying to push that legislation through might not be an easy feat. The bill faces potentially block by Republicans if they use the Senate's filibuster rule, which requires 60 votes before they can move forward with the legislation. And the Chautauqua County Board of Elections has responded to a government watchdog report that has criticized the local election office's transparency. Board of Election Commissioner Brian Abram and Liz Torres issued the statement late last week. The two specifically responded to the New York Coalition for Open Government's report, which criticized the office for failing to answer a Freedom of Information Law request. They say due to an oversight in Chautauqua County's FOIL review process, the coalition's request to the Board of Elections, made via email last summer, did not receive a response. Until the coalition's report was released last week, the office says they were unaware that there was oversight issue, and they will be sending the coalition a response as soon as they can. Officials say the Board of Elections frequently receives FOIL requests from the public and routinely replies to them in a timely manner. They regret the unintended oversight that occurred in this case. Coming up, a lot more to tell you about. It's the end of an era. We hear from a longtime QB who's now hanging up his helmet. And a little bit later on, your feedback, it's needed to improve a popular park along Chautauqua Lake. But when we return, a full look at our weather forecast. Here's a live look right now over Sherman, where the snow is just a little bit out there. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
I'm a survivor.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
And I know what you're thinking. The quarterback that's retiring is not Tom Brady. Let's get that clear, folks. All right, so let's take a look at the ski and snowboarding forecast. As we mentioned yesterday, the ski resorts are loving all this extra snow. Bases are looking good, surfaces are good, and most everybody reporting more than a foot of new snowfall. So this is going to be the place to be. Ski and snow resorts, that's really going to be the place to be now since we've got all this extra snow. 12 inches of snow on the ground at the airport. We've picked up 20.4 inches of snowfall so far this month. And hey, we've actually played catch up pretty nicely for our seasonal total. Now just running a little bit below average, about less than an inch below average right now for snowfall for the season. First Defense Doppler radar showing you those lake effect snow bands continuing across the southern tier. Understand, this is not widespread snow. That's all done and over with. That storm system is way up into Canada right now, not impacting us, but this is lake effect snow coming right off the lake. Again, that cold air rushing across the open waters of Lake Erie is really producing some lake effect snow showers, and you can see it downtown from the HD News Now cam. 26 as of noon hour, a northwest wind of 9, but the snow is causing some reduced visibilities out there. So a half a mile out there with a wind chill of 17. So keep that in mind. The visibilities are going to be reduced. Looking down the road here toward the end of the week here, going into next week, yeah, it's going to turn much colder here. This is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, and basically half of the continental U.S. is going to be much colder than average, and that includes us here. Another hit of Arctic air is going to be coming. We go from 29 today up to 38 tomorrow, but then we're back down again into the teens. These are high temperatures. Low temperatures Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, sub-zero. Yes, I'm sorry, but it's going to be coming back. It's winter. It's supposed to be cold. So here's the newest run of the computer modeling. Shows you those lake effect snow showers continuing through the day. We'll ultimately cut out as we go through the night tonight. So partly to mostly cloudy tonight. Temperatures rise. You see why. Winds are shifting back to the south. Warm front pushes through. So that'll ultimately rise our temperatures. The low temperatures will occur early tonight into the 20s. We rise into the 30s by early tomorrow. Then we'll see ultimately a few rain and snow showers early on Wednesday. Then it will transition over to plain snow showers for just a period by the time we go into Wednesday night. So here's a look at it for tonight. 23 here in the city. That's early. We rise to 34 by sunrise, partly to mostly cloudy, and it becomes windy though with the winds 20 to 30 miles an hour. Now the next 7 days are coming up, powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions, and you can see we go from mixed rain and snow showers on Wednesday to all snow. Then look at that Arctic bite, Justin, as we go into Thursday and Friday. Mid-teens with low temperatures sub-zero once again. Wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of a wind chill advisory again. With temperatures like that, doesn't take much to produce a wind chill, and we stay in the freezer through early next week.
Yeah, woo, bitter, bitter cold. I mean, if it's not snowing, we're freezing ourselves out there.
Mm-hmm. Freezing your beep off.
Yeah, no kidding about that, Dakota. Thank you. Well, it's an end of an era for a famed Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, who is hanging up his helmet following an impressive career in the Steel City. Roethlisberger all but announced his retirement from the NFL on Sunday night in Kansas City after the Pittsburgh Steelers' 42-21 loss to the Chiefs in the AFC wildcard round. The longtime Steelers quarterback sounded like he had played for the final time in the league. Roethlisberger has played for the Steelers for 18 seasons. Should this be his last, he'll finish his career with 64,000 passing yards, 418 touchdowns, and 2 Super Bowl wins.
Said God has blessed me. We joke a lot, about the Browns and going there, but it was meant to be that I was going to wear black and gold. Draft day, I had a black suit on with a gold tie. I mean, I'm just so thankful.
Now, he was never specifically asked if he was retiring on Sunday. He did say that he would likely hit him around training camp, and that would be the best husband and father that he could be going forward. Well, a day that started in worship ended with a synagogue in Texas at the center of a global drama after 4 people were taken hostage over the weekend. And as Britt Conway explains, the FBI and Department of Homeland Security now worry that this type of terroristic event will happen again.
I heard that very distinct click of an automatic handgun being pulled back.
And for the nearly 11 hours that followed, inside Congregation Beth Israel, 4 people were held hostage. The active shooter training they'd taken months before, now a reality.
It absolutely saved our life. We escaped, and we escaped because we kept presence of mind, because we made plans, because we strategically moved people.
The Anti-Defamation League warns attacks on Jewish people are on the rise. It says the majority of the anti-Semitic incidents involve harassment and vandalism. But there have also been assaults, and at least 6 times since 2016, they've been deadly. As the FBI continues to investigate what happened in Texas, the Bureau's deputy director and a top official with the Department of Homeland Security warn faith-based communities have and will likely continue to be targets of violence by both domestic violent extremists and those inspired by foreign terrorists. Pointing out online forums linked to domestic violent extremists that have referenced Jewish targets tied to conspiracy theories about COVID-19, the outcome of the 2020 election, along with the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan and resettlement of Afghans to the U.S. It's why they're urging faith-based communities to look at their security with a critical eye. I'm Britt Conway reporting.
Britt, thank you. Homeland Security Secretary Alessandro Mayorkas said DHS will work with Congress to increase funding so faith-based communities can upgrade their security. And this is interesting. A large asteroid is set to fly by Earth this afternoon. NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies says it will pass within 1.2 million miles of our planet. The asteroid is estimated to be 1 kilometer wide and moving at about 47,000 miles per hour. That's fast. Scientists do not expect it to hit Earth, thankfully, but NASA predicts it's going to be the closest an asteroid will come for the next 2 centuries. Amateur astronomers should be able to spot it with a small telescope today. Interesting, a little too close for comfort. Well, next, as WNY News Now rolls along, improvements to Lakeside Park, we're detailing the call for feedback.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Remember when you were a kid, huddled around the television waiting for your school to close? Well, we don't get snow days. When winter weather hits, count on the First Defense Weather Team for a look into the future where the snow is headed next. Live radar showing you the scope of the storm. And real-time reports from the field. So when it matters most, stay with First Defense Weather.
Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now. It's not just what we say, it's what we do.
Local first. It isn't just our slogan. It's our mindset every single day. So whether you're watching our daily live streams or staying up to date with reports on our website and mobile app, you'll always see the same attention to detail from reporters who passionately care about our community, who have one goal in mind, to always put the facts first.
For me, it's more than just getting the forecast right. What I love the most about my job is that I come into work every day to help break down the weather letting people know how this is going to impact their day. We take pride that First Defense Weather is the only local weather team in the Southern Tier. We don't just copy and paste our weather from outside sources. Every part of our forecast is handmade right here in-house, something our team really takes pride in.
What matters to you matters to us. Every story, every day. WNY News Now, where coverage comes first. You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
County leaders are seeking ideas to improve a popular park nestled along the northwestern edge of Chautauqua Lake. As our Julia Gress reports, the public feedback campaign is now underway to discuss the process of improving the village of Mayville's Lakeside Park and how the community can get involved.
Lakeside Park is such a wonderful local and regional asset, and it's so beautiful already, but what can be built upon that? How can we expand that?
As Rebecca Worcester, planning coordinator for Chautauqua County, explains, a committee made up of community and business stakeholders is seeking public input. The process to begin improving Lakeside Park was partially prompted by a new condominium development being built just north of the spot.
And how those private residents might want to interact with the park and allow for the community to interact with that development.
Once input is collected, the committee will begin to form a plan, which will be discussed and reviewed at a public open house. Once a plan is finalized, they will begin to apply for grants to fund the project.
In the wintertime, this cool warming hut that snowmobilers can stop at and enjoy. You know, the Winterfest is so huge at this park in Mayville. How do we build off of that and create something even better and more exciting that could not only be just that one weekend in winter, but all year round?
The committee will consider numerous factors when deciding if an idea can work in the park or not, including environmental and historical.
Ideas for public projects and then also private projects too. Could a cool little wine bar be located nearby or something like that, just as an example?
Worcester and the committee hope this project will have a similar impact as Canalside did in Buffalo. An interactive map is included on the website to view the area and leave comments on parts that could be improved. Both local residents as well as any visitor to the park is encouraged to share their opinions on the site. Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. The public has until February 25th to complete either an online or physical survey about the priorities that the project should focus on. Certainly real exciting for a lot of folks, and not just in Mayville, as they mentioned throughout the story, Dakota, but I think all around the county and in all sorts of seasons too. That park is a big draw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we have, because the Lakeside Park is where they shoot the fireworks off for the 4th of July. That's where they shoot them off at, and obviously the Ice Castle.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on at Lakeside Park throughout the year, and it's a nice area there right on the lake. So, and actually, come to think of it, Lakeside Park is actually one of the areas that was hit by the tornado back in 2010.
Yeah, I remember, I think you were there, not
Yes.
in 2010, but for a look back along looking at some of the damages, I think a building across the street, if I believe, still has some damage from that tornadic event. So it's certainly will be interesting to see kind of what they come up with, and if you want more or to the actual link to that survey too, we'll have that posted online a little bit later on at WNYNewsNow.com. It's great to see Morgan. Good to see Chris, Carol, Kurt, and James. Hopefully, you are all having a great day. We thank you so much for joining us here for WNY News Now. And of course, we remind you to follow us on all sorts of social medias at WNY News Now, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, YouTube as well, and channel 716 on Roku. If you haven't checked this out yet, it's absolutely free. Simply search channel 716 and add it to your lineup today. Well, that's it for us today. We'll leave you with this live look over Lakeside Park there in Mayville. Have a great day. We're back here tomorrow.